Welcome to the second part of the decluttering video. If you missed the first part, I'm gonna link it up here. So let's continue with where we stopped. Okay, so then we have this second drawer, which has been bothering me the most because I use it the most often. I'm not gonna take it out, it's too heavy, but I'm gonna bring everything out and then we can go through this stuff together. So I've basically done a little bit over half of the drawer and it's already full. So I'm gonna go through this stuff and then bring in the other stuff. So first of all, I have a few things that I use very, very rarely, like these things. I use it for pouring sauces and this kind of stuff, but I don't use them very often. So I'm gonna locate the things that I don't use very often. And this is my kitchen stuff, it shouldn't be here. Also some really small, very white things that I don't use very often. It's gonna go under the bed. Two things I don't really use very often are those plates here. They're really like very specifically shaped, so I don't use them very often. I actually use them very, very rarely, but I like them. Like for some summer or spring shots, so they're going to go under the bed. Then another thing that is going to go under the bed is this bowl here. It's really beautiful, but it's very, very deep. So this is really for something like a soup or granola or something, and I don't do this so often. So whenever I do, I'm gonna go under the bed. And same goes for this one here. It's really nice, but I don't use it like on a regular weekly basis. Then another one, sorry, here is this one here. Again, not so often. It's gonna go under the bed. And then I have a bunch of cups like these, like kind of coffee, teacups. I'm gonna keep one of these, and I know I have a bunch of them, so I can refer back to the bed and then find it there. And I'm gonna keep one. I like this one. This is gonna stay here. This one is a little bit on the larger side. It's gonna go under the bed. Then we also have this one. It's really a nice one, but again, it's pretty large. It's very specific. So this is also going to go under the bed. Oh, and I found the same one as before. Then we also have this pepper shaker. So I'm gonna keep this one here. And also I have a bunch of candlesticks or candle holders, and I use candles very often in my photography, so I'm gonna keep the handles and maybe this pepper shaker. It's the similar size. I'm gonna keep them together. I have these candle holders that take up so much space, and this should really be cleaned. They take so much space, so I need to kind of find a better way to store them, and I might even go and store them under the bed for the time being before I find a better solution, because they're just going from drawer to drawer, just making it all look very cluttered. Then I have a bunch of bowls in different sizes. I often use this, so I'll just have them stacked really nicely. And then the smaller ones, I also have another one for the tea, and I use this probably the most often for the tea. I'm gonna place this next to the tea pots or teacups. Here's another one in white. I don't use it as often. It's gonna go under the bed. This one I also use a lot. Then I have a bunch of plates, like really small plates. They're gonna go in a separate pile. I have some more, and I also have some pinch bowls. They're gonna go also on a separate pile. And then another teacup, some more bowls. I might have to stack this into 2 stacks. I'll see later on. I have another plate in gold. Some more bowls, and yes, I have many of these, and I actually use them a lot on a daily basis. They are pretty similar, but also they kind of have different hues. And that's why I want to keep all of them. And this is a little bit more of an oddly shaped, and I like to have this option as well. It's gonna probably, I could stack the smaller ones in it. And I have this one, I don't use it as often, although it's really nice, so it's gonna go under the bed. Then I have this cake holder. It had a white, very shiny plate on it, so I just unglued it, and now I just placed another plate on top to kind of create a cake stand. But I don't use cake stands so often. I can keep the cake stands under the bed, so it's gonna go there. Then I have these two nice cups from H&M. They're really nice, but they're very seasonal, and I don't really use them all that often, so they're gonna go under the bed. And then I have these two marble salt and pepper holders, cups. I like them, use them a lot. They're gonna stay here. I don't use this one as often, although it's nice. I will sometimes place it in the back, but it's gonna go under the bed. What else do we have here? So we have some metal props. I like this, it's an old can, I just cleaned it. I often use it to kind of place forks and knives and kind of utensils in. Then I have a metal cup, also use it sometimes. And another metal cup that I probably use the most. I'll just stack this up in a pile. Then what I also often use is kind of the milk glass. They're really small bottles, so you can compare it with the size of my hand. I used to use this one. It's kind of getting a little bit worn out. So I will try to find a similar one because I like the shape. But I just got recently a new one and I like the shape, so I'm gonna keep this one in my drawer. And then I have this really nice basket. It's kind of really oddly shaped. But if I place something in it, then every time I'll have to place something out of it. So I'll try to find a place for this here. Otherwise it's gonna go under the bed. I'm just gonna take it. Then I have this glass container. It still has the label, but I usually fill it up, so it's not really visible. I'm really bad with removing labels. And there's something new I just bought, and I want to try it out. So I'm going to keep it here somewhere. Maybe I can place it inside that, inside the basket. And, just keep it like this, so it's not a bother if I just need to remove one thing out of it. So I'm left with a bunch of glass containers. So these are glasses. I'm gonna go through the glasses later on, but these are just this as well. So these are used usually to kind of add any extra ingredients. And I have two of the same ones here, but I often use those, so I'm gonna keep it. This one as well. I have this one is new, so I'll try to use it, and I'll try to stack it up as much as possible. And then I have small bottles. I like to have different sizes depending on what size of a subject I'm shooting, so I'm gonna keep both of these as well. So I've placed in all the stuff that I talked about before in the drawer, and now I'm gonna go through the other half of the drawer. So what I found here is a bunch of labeled bottles that I use for different kinds of shoots, so beers, spirits, and this kind of stuff. I don't use it all that often, so this is gonna go under the bed. And here is another one that I often use for milk and juices and this kind of stuff. So this one I'm gonna keep. And the same with this one, I often use it for oil, and this one as well. So these three, oh, and there's one that's a little bit tinier. So these are gonna go back in the drawer. And then I have two black ones. So these are the ones where I sometimes put the kind of oil pitcher inside, like that stuff that I had in my cutlery drawer. I don't ever use two of them at the same time, so I'll probably ditch one of those. And then I have a bunch of these colorful mugs, and I really like them, but since they're colorful, they are not as versatile, and these are gonna go under the bed. Then I found a small pinch bowl, and I just wanted to show you this. Hope you can see it. This is really tiny one, and this is a great example of something that you can buy in just regular store. So this is a candle holder, you know, for the small tea candles, and they're really nice and useful as pinch bowls as well. And then I have a bunch of glasses. So I have most of this in 2 or 3. And I want to keep just one, except for these ones that I use probably the most. I really like them. I found them in a second-hand store. But all of the others, I will keep just one and have the rest under the bed. So I'm gonna do that right now. So basically what you're seeing here is I'm being very strict so I can have lots of space in my drawer, and I'm gonna show it to you when it's done, and you'll see that it's much better than it was before. And then I also have a bunch of these brown bottles that I often use kind of in the back, and also this one, this like kind of brass something, I don't even know what it is. And I often use it in my dark and moody photos in the back to give a little bit of shine, a little bit of texture, but it's not really very clearly visible what it is. So I'm keeping those. And that's basically it from this drawer. I have this food here, and I'm gonna move it in another drawer. So then we'll move to the next one, and I have the plates here. I will again put everything out and go through it. So I'm just halfway through, but I don't want to clutter the table just yet. So I'm gonna go through, and then I'm gonna do the other half. I use this one on a regular basis, so I'm gonna keep those. I also use the small ones very often, so I'm gonna keep the whole set. I have one here and there's more there. I'm gonna add that later. Similar with those, I use this very often, so I'm gonna keep the set here. Then let's head on to this one. Use it a lot, but I can keep just one. I don't use it all that often. Can just have one. I have this. I also use this very often, but these are very heavy, so I'm just gonna stick with maybe 2. Keep them here and save the other 2 that I have in the other storage. Then this one is nice. I don't use it all that often, but I'm gonna keep it just because it's this really nice blue color, and I think maybe I can do a winter recipe with it. I'm gonna keep it here. This one I also use very often. So basically with the plates, I want to keep as much as I can, just so I know what I have, just because I have so many and they're all so different, and I just want to place the duplicates in under the bed, so this is going to go a little bit quicker. And goes under the bed, and then this is also very specific. I know I have it. It's going to go under the bed. So basically what I was able to do now is use much less space in this drawer, and I have a little bit more space to put my food props in. So I'm later on gonna go and find a container and place in all the food. And now let's go to the other drawer. This one is a big mess. It contains large pieces, and I don't like that because it's then all going like larger piece over smaller piece, and it's just a mess. So I want to get rid of the largest pieces. So these are the pieces that I don't really use that often. And I'm gonna transfer those in my other storage, and I'm gonna keep the smaller ones that I use more regularly. Okay, so the sun is coming in, so I'm probably overly bright right now. I've cleaned the drawer, and now we can go through. So I found these placemats that are both really beautiful, and I kind of forgot about them just because I had all that stuff on top and I want to use them. So I'll place them on the bottom, but I want to remove the larger pieces anyway, so I will hopefully see them. So I have these wooden plates that are all very large. I have more under the bed, but I'm gonna go place these under the bed as well. I use this one probably the most often. I really like it. It's also from the H&M store, but it's really very, very large, so I think it's better to place it under the bed. So this is my pie dish. I actually use this for everyday life as well, so I'm not sure why this is not in the kitchen, so this should be in the kitchen. Then I have a bunch of plates that are a little bit on the lighter, smaller side. I don't use this one as often, so this is gonna go under the bed. And then I have a bunch that I use more often, and I also don't use this one as often, so I'll place this under the bed as well. So you can see where I'm going with this. If it's something very specific or large, I'm gonna move it. And I also tend to buy more neutral props just because I don't have like enormous storage to just store everything. So I'm really careful with what I buy. So neutral things, metal, marble, ceramics, wood, and this kinds of stuff, and pretty neutral colors and textures. They are kind of the best props that you can ever buy. They're so versatile. I like this one. I use it a lot. So also this one, don't use this as much. This one as well. Use this one. This one not as much. Use this one and not this one. Then I have a bunch of newspapers that will go separate in props. Then I have larger pieces such as kind of baking trays, this marble tray. This is also going to go under the bed. This is also a cake stand, and I know I said that I don't use cake stand as often, but I really like this one. Like you don't really necessarily have to use it for a cake. You can use it for something else to make it more eye-popping. It's not that big. I'm gonna keep it here for now. I'm gonna turn it around and place it here and just pop everything in the drawer. Oh, and also these plates here. So what we're left here is some candles. Like I said, I often use hand candles, so I want to have them on hand. We'll keep them in the same drawer. And then we have some strings. I also often use strings, so let me go and grab a container and I'll be back. Okay, so I got the container for the strings. I'm gonna put them in. And then basically what we're left with is my fabric drawer. Oh no, one more thing. I forgot a few things. So a few things I also often use. I will place them here. So it's much easier to store anything now when I don't have everything so full. Let's go to the fabric drawer and I'll put everything out and we'll see what we can keep here. Okay, so I placed everything out. One thing I did is put back all the styling things into my styling kit box. This is where it was, like in the behind all this fabric, and that's why I was probably placing everything in the cutlery drawer. So now it's all here. I think a few pieces are still missing, so I'll try to find them somewhere around the house. So this is gonna go in the drawer, and now let's go through the fabrics. So basically what I found now was a bunch of aprons, and I use those regularly. So these are going back, but in a separate stack, because I don't want to be going through all the napkins to find them. And then I'm gonna try to find, like, this is a table runner that I very rarely use. This is going to go under the bed, and I'm gonna try to find the pieces that I don't use as often, and these are going to go under the bed. So again, I have some napkins that are in pair. Like this one, I have 2 of these, or maybe I have more, but I don't use that all that often. I will keep one here, and I'll keep one in my other storage. Same with these ones. I have 4 of them. Like, I never will use them unless I have a large table scene. I will never use more than 2 at the same time, so I'll just keep 2 here and I'll keep the rest there. When it comes to napkins, I really like to have different color options, and I can use them to add accent colors to my photos. And then all the rest are more kind of neutral, gray, beige, blue tones. And I also like to have something with a pattern like stripes, squares, but still keep it pretty neutral. When it comes to napkin sizes, I like to have different kinds of sizes, from larger ones, from table runners, tablecloths, smaller napkins, like really tiny napkins, because I do different kinds of projects, so I want to have different options. Then I have different kinds of options like linen bread baskets, like a shopping bag in fabric. These are also really nice accents to the photo. So you can see that right now I'm left with a bunch of stuff that I need to transfer under the bed, and I'm going to show you how it looks like after I place it there afterwards. Right now there's a last thing I need to do here, and that's place the food props in here. I couldn't find any nice containers, so again I'm gonna have to go shopping and buy some nice containers. I'm doing the home decluttering anyway, so I'm buying a bunch of containers at this point. I'm just gonna transfer those to the drawer anyway. I'm gonna stack them nicely to the side, and it's gonna be there nicely. So as you've probably noticed, I don't really have a lot of very special props, something that's not too food related. That's not my style of photography anyways. I do use, let's say, this. I bought them for food photography, but I use them as decorations in my home. So I try to, when I buy these kinds of stuff, with this little storage that I have, I try to buy stuff that I can actually use around the house and then use it in my photo shoots. I just don't have the space to store these kinds of props. But if you do, good for you. I would love to have this much space and all these options. But if not, then I think a system like this, and kind of being really aware of what you're buying when you're buying props, it really does make a difference. So let's just quickly look at how these drawers look now. And this is how the storage under my bed looks right now when I filled it up with all the props, and you can see that it's also kind of organized in a similar way as my drawers, so it all makes sense. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a little bit embarrassing, but hopefully also helpful and entertaining. So if you'd like to see more videos in the future, please subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss them, and I'll see you all next time.